one of the reasons that people are listening now is because we're in the middle of, this so-called COVID-19 pandemic, and we are all being shown the exit sign over this way, which is the vaccination that's going to make everything normal again. And I was just reading an article in the Times here in London and watching it and kind of watching the general public's version of what's going to happen. And as I was telling Dr. Zach Bush yesterday, I made myself watch the Soderbergh movie Contagion about 3 months ago before all this started. And it gave me bad dreams in the beginning because the mortality rate's high and you get to see Gwyneth Paltrow dying on the kitchen floor. But one thing I noticed was at the very end of the film, doctor, there's this vaccine. And it's this innocuous saline solution they put in your nostril. And it's almost like seconds after it's done, everyone's like, now I'm okay. And now everyone's okay. And everything will go back to normal. And I'm sure Soderbergh didn't know what he was doing at the time, but it seemed to reinforce this concept that we have, that the vaccine is this panacea with a 100% success rate that makes everything like puppy dogs and unicorns. And so my question is to you is, what do we need to know about the current vaccine agenda and even the efficacy of vaccines? And is it true that our media seems to tell us this other version of what they are?
Well, there's an interesting story about the movie Contagion, Brian, that I'll just share with you. And that is a friend of mine who's actually in the movie 1986, The Act, David Kirby, a journalist and an author. He wrote a book called Evidence of Harm. And Evidence of Harm was about the damage done by the mercury in vaccines and the attempts to cover up that. And it was optioned to be made into a film. And the company that optioned it ultimately buried it. They put it in the bottom drawer, never to be made. And I'm told that it was the payback for doing that was the film Contagion. And so Contagion has an interesting history. Is that true or not? But that's the story that I've heard many, many times. So yes, the CDC saves the day. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that great? CDC was going to save the day with Zika. I think $8 billion were awarded for a Zika vaccine. And then even Fauci tells us the other day, and then Zika disappeared as a problem. It went off the front pages. Suddenly it disappeared. Once they got the money, the $8 billion, it had gone. And it was the same with the Ebola vaccine. It's been the same with so many vaccines. There's a great deal of money at stake here. Even if you don't bring a vaccine to market, you can get a lot of money out of the taxpayer to develop your products, build your company, etc. So there are advantages beyond being successful in producing a vaccine to the market. But I'm very, very, very cautious. And the value of the film is that it shows people that we've been here before. We haven't been here before once, we've been here before many times, and here is the real history of it. So if you are going to determine where we're going, look where we've been. Look where we've been with this experience before, because it's often turned out to be a complete catastrophe for the consumer, for those people desperate to get this life-saving vaccine, who put themselves in harm's way for something that's not tested. The insurance companies won't touch in terms of liability, and yet it goes into people and they are damaged. And it turns out there was never a problem in the first place. So another reason for watching this film is it gives you a perspective. It gives you an insight. It gives you a way of judging the current events around COVID-19 in the context of the history of pandemics and vaccination.